Welcome back, Devils fans, and we have just witnessed the win of the season. That is right, folks. Fresh off the win of the season, the New Jersey Devils claw back from behind, beating the defending Stanley Cup champion Vegas Golden Knights by a score of 6-5. Here with my good friend and also huge Devils fan, Joe, came over to watch the game, and we were treated for one here tonight, folks. For all of you at The Rock, I hope you threw your hat on the ice for Mr. Toffoli, a well-deserved hat trick in overtime, giving the boys a much-needed 2 points and the skate-off victory. And my God, my friends, I thought tonight was going to be the latest chapter of this New Jersey Devils team being Vanacek'd. Devils, of course, do not score the first goal, go down 1-0 in the first period, and then 3 unanswered goals by our New Jersey Devils, giving them a 3-1 lead before the Vanacek'd era of the game came into play. Vegas scores 4 in a row, leading the Devils 4-3. Then they add another one to go up 5-3 before Tyler Toffoli in the waning seconds of the second period gets one back for us. Devils down 5-4 after 2, and they found a way to claw back in the third and win in overtime. And Joe, I mean, wow, what a friggin' game, huh?
Biggest win of the season. Easily the biggest win of the season. You touched on it with Vanacek'd. That's a good term. But you really felt like it was slipping away. 5-3. And credit for Lindy Ruff. And again, I'm not waxing poetic, but that timeout was perfect. The only thing I would have done differently was maybe make a goalie switch at that point. But the timeout came at the right time. We looked great. We looked great. From that timeout on, I thought we looked like a different team. Toffoli, who's got 20 goals now at the halfway mark, he's doing great. It's unbelievable. The whole team looked amazing. Yeah, really, really awesome. The biggest win of the season.
Early on in that first period, the Nico, Brat, Timo line was absolutely buzzing. Chances galore. I think we might see them together for a while.
Yeah.
With all these injuries, especially as I've talked about in the channel and with you specifically. I am a huge fan of Peanut Butter and Jelly. Jack and Brat together are just completely lethal. And over the years they've been on the club, they honestly haven't played that many games together. But if you could look, I actually have a video. If you check on the channel, Peanut Butter and Jelly, you'll see some of the highlights. And clearly they are our two best offensive players. And when they're on a line together, the things that they do are just completely crazy. But looking back, Curtiz Lazar with 2 goals on the night. I'm not going to go goal by goal. This is a goal bonanza, 11 goals. But Nico gets on the scoreboard. Toffoli with the Hattie. Lazar with 2. And talk about young Luke Hughes looking just like a poised vet in that overtime.
What an interception that was. Changed the whole thing, picked his pocket, and then finds a wide open Toffoli. Game. It was awesome. I mean, this was arguably his best game too. Lazar, that may end up being one of the more underrated acquisitions from Fitz. I'm a big fan of his, a huge fan of his, top to bottom. We looked 5-3, like you said, and it looked like it was falling apart.
I thought we were done. At 5-3, I thought it was game over.
I was waiting for 6-3. I was waiting. I mean, we score. This is the conundrum. This is 10 goals now. The last 2 Vanacek starts. I don't know why, but it's unbelievable. There's no doubt anymore. There's no coincidence. We needed this win, especially coming, at the heels of the All-Star break. Most important win of the season.
To touch on the Lazar acquisition, Lazar is one of those gritty type players that we don't have too many of in the lineup. Yeah. I'm a big fan of his as well. You need guys like that to go on postseason runs and into the playoffs. Guys like that can step up out of nowhere either with a big hit or a big goal, a timely assist, and he definitely stepped up tonight. I'm just glancing over the stats here. Yeah, Bastian with 2 assists, Nemitz with 2 assists. It's just a lot of guys getting points tonight, and it was one of those games where, again, I always say this, it's hard to call any game this early a must-win, but with the standings the way they are now and all the injuries and us just trying to keep clawing for points and stay relevant in the standings and not fall completely out, this game going into it felt like a must-win. And as the game went on, I was feeling good with the 3-1 lead, and I actually told Joe, I said, I'm not comfortable with Vanacek and net unless we have a 3-goal lead, and then sure enough, it all fell apart, and before you know it, we're down 2. But to call any game a must-win, it is tough. We're not even in February yet, but it just seems like every game now is so crucial. And halfway through the game, it just felt like it was going to be one of those demoralizing losses or those extremely high, wins. And this, I think, is a signature win for the club on the year. They did not score first. They overcame adversity. They were down 2, found a way to claw back, get the win in overtime. Luke Hughes just looking like the stud that he is in the overtime. And the Devils were all over them. For the first couple minutes of the overtime, we had tons of chances. Bratt hit a crossbar and a post. And I think he may have had another shot that, like a really good chance that was a blocker save. But the Devils were all over them in the overtime period. I'm also curious as to why we went away from Mikey McLeod taking the draw in overtime. It's kind of weird because he's automatic. Nico took it today, and it looked like he kind of lost the draw. But the way the puck went, he was able to grab it. But he technically lost it, I believe, on the faceoff there. But what a game. Bratt flying around, and the boys found a way to overcome adversity and get the win. And now we look ahead. We have 2 huge games against Eastern Conference opponents that we're chasing in the standings, in the Carolina Hurricanes and Tampa Bay Lightning.
It's funny. You said that, it's too early to call it a must-win in January. I don't think so. And more so, the Detroit's, people want to talk about the wild card. If we do get into the playoffs, I think we're going to get in by the top 3 of the division. I think now
it's definitely possible. The margin between
I think it's only 3 teams.
I don't
above
think
us
it's
now, as far as points.
This doesn't update in real time, but the difference between making the playoffs and winning the division could end up being 6 to 8 points on the year. So every win is crucial, and I've talked about. You look back and you don't want the games that we kind of shit the bed to haunt us. Those Anaheim and San Jose losses at home will always come back in my mind as ones that were just lost opportunities. Even with those 2 wins, another 4 points would be huge on the season. And even if we were 500 in the second half of back-to-backs, we have 1 win in 10 games. I mean, we have 1-8-1, so we have 3 points out of a possible 20. Even if we had won 5 games, that would give us 10 points. That's an additional 7 points on the year. I forget how many back-to-backs we have left on the season, but something's got to give. We cannot continue to just flush 2 points down the toilet in the second half of a back-to-back. I mean, do you have any hypotheses as to why that is the case?
I think it'll be corrected once guys get healthy. And I think there's a lot of hyperbole about that. We've got over 50 points.
Oh, but
at the halfway. But you would agree that if we get 100 points, I'm not saying I'm happy with every game.
We had 47 points exactly at the half, which would have put us on pace for 94 on the season, which if last season carries over, I showed the stats, I think 91 points, there's either 91 or 92 points was good for a wild card last year. Who knows what it's going to take this year, but if it's anywhere in that range, but every point does matter.
It's a good point. 44 games is not exactly the halfway point, but my point is we've got over 51 points. I'm not happy with a lot of games. The Anaheim game, Anthony's right. But I'm not at the other extreme yet where the sky is falling. I think once we get guys healthy, this was really impressive. I mean, look at the defense we had out there tonight. You had, what's that guy's name? Haraka?
Hataka.
Playing.
I think Hataka.
His first game, I thought he looked good. Foot, I think, looks really good. He brings grit. He had
that horrible play on the wall, though.
He had a bad play.
To clear it out, and that's going to happen with the inexperience. Again, he's a little more experienced than the other guys. He played a bunch with the Avalanche, getting adjusted to the Devils in their system this year, but, we have a lot of kids.
It's a marathon, just keep your head above water, get guys healthy, get back to February where I believe we only have 3 road games. There's a lot of home games that are coming the next month, and that's what you need. You need to get to a point where guys are healthy and, we can have our head above water.
I also found it interesting that the news had come out that Jack Hughes is not expected to skate till after the All-Star break, which is kind of unfortunate. Joe had pointed out earlier, if you have to have a star player injured, there is no better time than near the All-Star break with nearly 2 weeks, but he's already missed a bunch of games leading up to it. But obviously, with the All-Star break, he's going to end up missing way less games than he would had it happened at a different point of the season. But it is very bothersome to me that, everyone's very vague with the injury. We don't know what the hell's wrong with this kid. And I'm starting to worry that it might be some, lingering injury they never really recurred from for
last season.
He never he never recovered from earlier in this season or maybe even last season. Is this going to be something that's hampering him going forward? I mean, he's a young kid. He's still not fully in his man body, but it seems like he's a little bit fragile, and I don't know if this is going to be a reoccurring thing or what
he might need surgery.
May be.
He's not going to shut himself down for this season. That'll be something he worries about in June. You're right. He's growing into his man body. He's still young. He's still a kid, but he's a leader. He's probably one of the most grittiest guys on the team, commands respect from the players and the coaches. I'll never forget how Lindy praised him through the postseason last year, dealing with whatever injury he had. We're in dire need of him. I mean, he makes it obvious every game that his presence is missed. There's a couple guys in this team that are the heart and soul. Nico, obviously, Brad, and Jack is head and shoulders up there. He's one of them. He's the number one.
I thought Nico was really all over the place tonight as well. He had a nice little spin move.
His best game.
With a backhand roofer that the goalie picked up late and got a blocker on. I thought that was going to go in.
He had some great saves, too. I mean, this game could have scored 10 goals.
And again, not to keep harping on the goal thing, but I feel like that is the difference where, Vitek did make some big saves tonight, but I thought Thompson made way more, crazy saves where you're like, wow, like these are the types of saves that we don't seem to get on a regular basis. No. And it seems like, if with a different goalie for the Knights in there tonight, we could have had 8, 9, 10 goals. I mean, even in the overtime alone, Bratt could have had a hat trick. He had a crossbar post, and he had another great chance that he got the blocker on. And, hopefully, I'm hoping that this game was telling, again, not to keep beating a dead horse, but, now Vanacek's pathetic goals against is going to actually increase after tonight. I don't know about the advanced stat on
what message do you send to the offense? That you need games like this to win? That's not sustainable. Well,
tell them what your VTech says. He has a special saying that he texts and says all the time. Go ahead, let him know what it is.
Score me 6. I win for you, babe.
Yeah, and it seems like for a VTech Vanacek start, a lot of nights it's going to require 6
We need 4,
goals.
5, 6, sometimes 7 goals.
And at some point, the well is going to run dry. I mean, it is crazy. We scored 6 for VTech tonight. In
4 from the last start.
In Dawes' last 3 starts, we got shut out in Boston. We gave him 2 against Montreal, and we gave him 2 the other night in garbage time against the Stars, which honestly, we were basically shut out when the game mattered.
Right.
We were up 6-0.
That's true.
But I'm going to count the 2 garbage goals. Fine. 4 goals for Dawes in 3 starts. And again, the 2 were in garbage time. You could really make the argument they scored 2 goals total when it mattered.
And they did this for Akira,
in 3 games.
Yeah.
It is a very perplexing situation as to why that is. I have a couple wackadoo theories, but who really knows? In the end, they seem to score a lot of goals when Vanacek plays, and we give up a ton of goals when he plays. I just hope that this may have been the final straw where, regardless of getting the win, you just can't have faith in Vitek Vanacek after a game like tonight if you're a fan, or I'd imagine one of the guys on the bench as well. And even despite getting the win, there was tons of situations where he was doing the backstroke, like I like to say, he's swimming around.
He lost dropped the stick 4 times. Stick
a bunch, out of position. Late in the third, he kind of was got caught playing with the puck.
Even Bryce was.
Salvador was like, get in the net. What do you do? And it's just game after game where even if we get the win, he just looks sloppy. He looks scared, and it's not a good look. And we're hoping that we move on eventually. I don't know whether that's, I can't imagine any sort of world where you could get someone to take him on a trade. Maybe if some salary is retained and you package him up with some other things, you could get a club maybe out west or somebody who's kind of in a rebuild to take a chance on him as a reclamation project. I don't know. I mean, what do you think about that? You think there's any way to get someone to bite?
I think we would make a great video, you and I, if we're able to pluck a flower.
Ooh,
but that could be a video for another day.
We'll just leave that nugget. But closing up here, Hischier with the goal for a point, Bastian 2 assists for 2 points and a +2. Lazar with the 2 goals, also a +2. Haula with the nice assist. Bratt with an assist. Toffoli with the Hattie. Big Hattie for Mr. Toffoli. His second as New Jersey Devil. His first one came on the empty net. It doesn't get any more exhilarating than an overtime winner hat trick. I threw my hat at the screen. A lot of hats were raining down on the ice. I honestly had hoped to see a lot more. I know a lot of people are hesitant to oh shit, this hat was 40 bills. I don't want to launch it on the ice. But as I've said in a previous video, I don't care what hat I have on. If a hat trick is scored, you must throw your hat on the ice. Right. If you do not, I'm going to judge you. And I've been at games where people scored hat tricks, and I
don't care if it's signed,
I was like, yo, what's up?
Fortune, no.
The hat got to go. Get that hat on the ice. Show some respect to the hat trick scorer. All in all, amazing. Let me just get to the defenseman here. Nemitz with 2 points. Luke with the huge assist in the overtime. And Ball with an assist as well. Vitek, 25 saves on 30 shots.
My God.
For a save percentage of .844. And the Devils did it. I'll take a look real quick at the other stats. 38 shots for the Devils, 32 for the Knights. They got us in the dot, 46.2% on the faceoffs for the Devils, 53.8 for the Knights. 0 for 2 Devils on the power play. The Knights did not get one, which is kind of shocking. Hits, very close, 11-10 in favor of the Devils. The Knights out-blocked us for the block shots, 17-11. Devils gave it away 8 times. Knights gave it away 4 times. Devils took it away 4 times.
What was the faceoffs?
Faceoffs was 46.2% Devils, 53.8 Knights. And the takeaways are very close, 4 for the Devils, 5 for the Knights. All in all, would have been a devastating loss.
Devastating. And
I would have been drinking here in the postgame. Instead, it is an exhilarating come-from-behind win, albeit we should not have had to come from behind. But the signature win of the year for this New Jersey Devils club, powered by Mr. Tyler Toffoli and Curtiz Lazar with 2 beautiful goals. Joe, anything else you want to say on the Devils this game or anything else?
Let's go Devils.
And folks, 2 big games coming up. Keep the faith. We're not over yet. A lot of you in the comments have been super negative. The season's over. The other teams in the conference aren't great either, and people are, shit the bed. And so as long as we keep staying in that race for the wild card, my hope will always be alive, because we're going to be in this thing to the very end, folks. And it very well may come down to the last game of the season. We've seen it with other teams in the past, and it very well may be the story for us as well, which is why I always preach every point is important. And when we lose these tight ones or to shit teams that we shouldn't, I am super devastated over it, because I know that looking down the line, these could be any one of the games we come back and say that one got away and cost us our playoff berth, and now we're playing golf. With all that being said, I am super optimistic about the rest of the season. A lot of young kids getting more experience. I'm going to have Jack come back and a lot of other guys hopefully come back and add to the production that we so desperately need. And that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you thought about the game, anything else, the goalie situation, Lindy, any other things. Were you at the game? Did you throw your hat? Do you not throw your hat? Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.